Yo, peeps, what's up? Back from the convention, and I'm just here to babble on at you about it. And it's gonna be a little bit of an inward blathering about some inner nonsense in my brain, so I would suggest you just hop out of the video now if you're not too keen on doing all that. So I can hear you asking, when did you go? Where did you go? I can answer both of those. I went on December 4th to the 6th. I actually went to see somebody else beforehand on the 1st in Minnesota, and then I came to the destination, which was Rosemont, Illinois. And do a little Googling, and you're going to have your answer real fast. I'll let you have some time to figure it out. You got it? Yeah. Midwest Fur Fest. And I can hear you saying, "Oh, sweet lordy, close the video, little Jimmy. Your ears aren't ready for a thing like this." Yeah, I know. Get your insults out and just move on. I've probably heard them all anyway, okay? So, well, the trip was pretty impromptu, and it was the result of someone else's drunk decision, or suggestion, I should say. And I agreed. And on top of that, these are people I met on the internet like a month before. We kind of made friends pretty quickly, and it led me into that hasty decision to agree to meet up at Midwest. And trust me, I understood that I could very well die meeting these people, but I'm not apathetic, but I'm afraid of like that kind of thing because at that point it's my own fault, and I understand that, and I'm willing to accept any consequences that may come from that. It's not that YOLO bullshit that's going around. It's more of a, excuse the cheese here, it's more of a connection, like, it's a desire to have that connection with people for like one of the first times in my life. And yeah, it was going to be through that fandom. And I've been a fur for about 7 years or so, it's not like it's something completely new to me. It's not something I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do that just to like troll people. No, it's been 7 long years. Anyway, the meetup went without a problem, and I had survived 3 BronyCons before that, and let me tell you, it was pretty much the same thing. With a little bit less cringy stuff, surprisingly. I felt safer at MFF than I did at BronyCon. BronyCon makes me very, very uncomfortable in some situations. I'm not gonna go into that because Jesus God, that's disgusting. So yeah, it wasn't too different for me. It was some minor cringing, and it was a lot more fun, I think. I don't think, I know, actually. Yeah. So the first day was pretty much uneventful, and it was the same way the entire day, except for those let's not talk about that situation in the hotel room I was in. It wasn't me that was involved with it, but some other people I was rooming with, they did some stuff. Yeah, I didn't I didn't need any of that. But putting that aside, day two came along quite quickly because it was, I believe, we arrived there before check-in time for the hotel, so that was before 3 p.m. But I commissioned a few people on day two and talked to the other people. Nothing really too big that day. And then day three rolls around. I'm not really gonna go into it because y'all don't need to like hear about that kind of crap. I didn't really do anything anyway except walk around and talk to people, so nothing really to talk about there. But the final day kind of gave me that feeling like my first ever convention. It was, you could feel the end coming, and it kind of sucked the energy out of you. It felt like it was slowing down, and it's just like, it's a weird feeling. It's hard to explain. But anyway, about midway through the day, I ended up talking to one of the artists, and it was just before the artist alley was closing. So I guess they wanted someone to talk to because they had like no one else around at the time, and I was kind of talking to them beforehand anyway. So I mean, they kind of sort of knew me at that point. But anyway, we had shared interests, so it was kind of easy to babble on about crap. And I liked spending time with them, but at the same time, I felt very strange, kind of, I guess, like forlorn. I don't know. There was this weird nagging feeling, and I basically followed them around the entirety of the day, and I didn't really contribute anything worthwhile while doing so. I like that's the thing that kind of nagged me a little bit. But regardless, they thanked me for my company, and they said they were going to go back to the room. So I returned the thanks. It kind of felt weird because I felt like I was being very coy and actually sincere, because most of the time when I talk to people, it's kind of like I did like talking to them, but it was more of a, I don't know, it was something, I guess, like a mutual agreement that was, I don't quite know how to explain it, but it's weird. But they were going to leave later the night, so that's why they're heading back to their hotel room early. And I thought I could take on the giant that is post-con depression, but I thought I was prepared for it, but I really wasn't. The airport was like the worst thing ever. I felt drained. I felt depressed. It was just, I had to like eat so much food because I felt like I was empty. I kind of eat a lot when I get sad. So, yeah, and I had scribbled a previous version of the script that I'm reading now, but it was kind of like a hasty mess, so I rewrote it when I got back home, so I could not have that giant mess to read from. Either way, I made it through PCD pretty well, at least, and it was another enlightening con experience, and I hope to hit other ones soon. And I probably will be going to one very soon in March, so yeah. Anyway, let's babble on about my brain for a minute. I mean, you can hop out now if you haven't already, because this is just going to be like a self-babble at this point. Like, it's going to be a mess. So, I have a knack for being likable, apparently. It seems like I'm being really stuck up and self-centered about it, but that's kind of true. People, like, flock around me when I'm meeting new people. I think it's mostly because I'm quiet and I kind of tend to stick to myself. And it's kind of always been with me, save for like maybe a few people. And I don't count school in that because school is its own war. Nobody wants to make friends in school anyway, so whatever. It's not actually a social environment. I don't count it as that. But forming brief friendships is nothing new to me, and forming long-lasting ones is something that's very far and few between. And the worst part is, I think I can. Well, I don't think I can. I can easily count the number of people I talk to on a daily basis on my hand. It's about 3. So I don't count work in that either, because work is coworkers, and that's not quite friend. So yeah, I have like 3 people I talk to on a daily basis. And it's funny because while most people like me early on, the fires that are the friendships really just kind of slowly burn out as we naturally, or through my own quietness, drift apart. And I've come to notice this, and I've accepted it as well. Although it is something that nags me every once in a while, but that's part of who I am. And while hanging out with the artist, or anyone else for that matter, I usually let them lead. Like, I usually let them lead me about wherever, talking, walking places, whatever. I can get back to where I was before anyway. I don't have much of a problem with people sidetracking me or something like that unless I'm doing work, in which case I will say, hey, I'm kind of doing something here, or I'll try and hint at it without being a complete and utter asshole, because that's not really who I am. And I guess I'm a sheep in that aspect, but I've also ended up liking myself to the really, really cliche, and perhaps detrimentally so, as the wild stallion in the meadow. It's wild, it's untamed, and it can't be tamed. Are you seeing why I'm calling it detrimental? It's mostly because, it's not because I'm untamable or something like that, but it hints that I'm a little bit undesirable personality-wise. The cliche is, the stallion is independent and it don't need no man, but it could also mean something else is going on. Something about it. People don't like it when they get close to it and observe it for a long time or something like that. Maybe they see something that's got like a scar on it or something. You don't know. And, it could be there's something they don't like about it. And is there something about me that prevents people from, like, connecting with me or vice versa? It's possible. Years ago, when I lost close friends, I would, like, lose my shit for weeks on end. And nowadays, I don't really feel too much anymore. The only exception to that rule is my dog, and that was that was the one exception that I've had in a very, very long time. And trust me, this isn't some emo, whiny rant. I've gotten over that time in my life. There's no point in doing that. This is more. I'm throwing ideas around. I want to, like I said before, if someone finds it and stumbles upon it, that's fine. They can toss their ideas around. Maybe they can see it, and maybe they'll be the same way. I guess it's more of almost like a gravestone, really. It's kind of like, I was here, that kind of thing. That was kind of a self-realizing thing as I'm talking right now. Actually, that wasn't in the script, so I kind of thought about that right now, and I finally got my words in place. But anyway, it's more of a curiosity and self-reflective thing as on top of that, because whining doesn't really get you anywhere, and I'm way past that at this point. I just kind of deal with it. I face it, not really face it, but I just kind of put up with it and keep it to myself most of the time. Well, all the time. I don't tell anybody what goes on in my life ever. But a few days ago, I lost a longtime friend, and it was actually my longest friend. 2 days after the con had finished, and she was the one I went to meet in Minnesota the days before. And that itself is a long, long story that is between me and her. So she split away from me after we had, like I said before, I drifted apart from people over time, and that's exactly what happened here. So we hadn't talked too much over the course of about 2 years or so. And, well, at this point, I don't even quite know if 2 years is even the true number, because it's been a wild year so far, and yeah. And, well, yeah, it was easy to see what was going to happen, but I've got my own reasons for not kind of hopping on it and stopping it. So it was something that had to happen at some point. And when it finally did happen, I was at work. I saw the text, well, not text, but the Skype message, and I emotionally crashed for a short time. Like, that was actually one of the worst ones I've had, where I didn't even feel like working anymore. Thankfully, it was near the end of the night, so I didn't, like, get myself fired or something. As bad as that sounds, like, I don't want to be like a dick and say that, but it hit me pretty hard. And when I got home, I went to bed and, yeah, that's okay, whatever. It's watered down. I didn't quite feel like that exactly, but I pushed it to the back of my head really, really, really easily, and that's what bothers me the most. Like, it's kind of why I went in the whole tangent of self-talking. It bugs me, but it's something I've done for a very, very, very long time. Relationship-wise, I just kind of shrug shit off and move on with my life. Whereas, anything else physically or whatever, I kind of get bogged down in it. Say if it's like a physical relationship. Well, I shouldn't say it like that, but, things that are constantly hammering me down. Say I'm like my mom being complete dick about my dog dying, like that kind of thing, that's going to get to me pretty quick. But afterwards, when it's done and dealt with, I can very easily just kind of shove it away. And I don't know whether to interpret all that as something good or something bad. I can move on easily, but at the same time, I don't really dwell on it, and I don't really feel anything either. That's what bothers me the most. But I'll continue living with it anyway. It's kind of what I do. And maybe my own thoughts on life are a little bit outdated. I have a really, really realistic approach on life where this is a little bit watered down again. If I'm alive, I'm happy. That's really all there is to it for me. If I'm still alive, living, breathing, then I'm mostly happy. I don't really have many desires except to be alive, and that I have a place to safely, stay in. Like, it's the basics of, human life. They have a pyramid for it too. I forget. I know there's safety, food, and then there's other levels and stuff like that. I don't quite remember it, but that's like the basics right there. You have a place to stay, you have safety, and you got food, and you're alive. You're not dead. And that's the basics of life, essentially. And I've had a rough time coming into 2015, and now I'm kind of having a bittersweet time getting out of it. And I feel I feel as though I have no place to truthfully call a home at this point. I don't feel in place where I am now. And the weird thing is that I don't mind that either. But there will be other things coming up where maybe I'll be able to call some other place home soon. So there's that at least. And I only have 3 or so friends that I really talk to. And I'm okay with that as well. But I still don't get what makes me feel as though everything's still fine. Maybe I've become accustomed to it all. And, the desire to just keep marching on, keep moving forward is still strong in me ever since I got out of high school. Ever since high school, I've taught myself to just keep moving on and not deal with shit that people give you, like Jesus. And the desire to just give it all up and flop my face into a pillow and die. That's not something that I'm going to be doing anytime soon. Not if I still have anything to say about it. But I don't know what I want, and I've got no issue with that either. I'm the basics. I just want to live, essentially. And it's kind of a very, very gray life. So maybe that's why I'm kind of drawn to these conventions, to these places that have so many people just rushing by. But I don't know, maybe it's something else. Either way, that is the oddity of my weird brain, which probably isn't very weird at all. It's probably not special. People probably feel like this all the time anyway, so I hope I didn't bore y'all too much with that, and I'll catch everybody in 2016 with whatever I do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I just live life, and I oh god, that didn't taste good. I just kind of do whatever. So, see you people in 2016.